Prince William exploded, and can you blame him? Absolutely not. By releasing pictures of Archie and Lily at Althorpe with flowers about to visit Princess Diana's grave for the first time, this couple who have stooped to disgusting lows in their past, I personally believe hit a new one. And the reason that Prince William is so concerned about this, of course, is that it's just the beginning. Do not be deluded to believe that Harry and Meghan do not have a whole year to slowly but surely commercialize the 30th anniversary of the death of Princess Diana. Yes, it's gross and grim, but this couple are increasingly desperate and they need money. And where is the money going to come from? We know it's from a likely Netflix documentary. I believe it will end up on Netflix, being filmed at the Althorpe estate. And let me be clear, that is not me suggesting that there were big fat camera crews there, because Meghan and Harry are far too smart for that, far too crafty to be accused of that. But the footage is all here. It's all you need. It's all Netflix needed for the documentary. As long as they have enough material on their mobile phones at the Althorpe site, it is very likely that Netflix or another streaming service potentially, of course it has to be offered to Netflix first, will pay out the big bucks. So then we get to Rob Shooting's new reporting over Prince William's reaction to that. He also alleges that King Charles is even shocked. Well, I'm not sure how shocked King Charles is, to be honest, given he's made this offer for Prince Harry to stay at Buckingham Palace. I think these days Charles just ignores what Harry is doing because he doesn't want to know the reality of quite how low his son, his youngest, has stooped. But this is Shooters reporting. Meghan Markle's latest Instagram post has sparked one of the fiercest royal backlashes in recent memory. With insiders telling Naughty But Nice, the controversy has left Prince William furious and even King Charles stunned. The image shows Prince Harry, Archie and Lily walking towards flowers, with many royal watchers believe it is Princess Diana's final resting place at Althorpe that they are heading to. Harry and Meghan never identified the location, but that hasn't stopped an avalanche of criticism. This has upset people who normally defend Meghan. One royal insider tells Naughty But Nice the backlash isn't just coming from her critics anymore. For many, the issue isn't that the Sussexes may have visited Diana's grave. It's that what appeared to be an intensely private family moment was seemingly shared with the world. Diana's grave has always been treated as a place of quiet reflection, says another palace source. If that's where this photo was taken, many believe it never belonged on social media. Sources say Prince William is devastated but not surprised. William has always been fiercely protective of his mother's memory. He's upset, but sadly he's no longer shocked by anything Harry and Meghan do. Even King Charles, who has largely avoided weighing in publicly on Sussex controversies, is said to be taken aback. The king is genuinely shocked, another royal source reveals. Even people who usually refuse to comment on Harry and Meghan are wincing. The feeling is that some family moments are simply too sacred to share. Brittany from the Royal News Network joins me now. The thing is, Brittany, actually, I don't believe the royal briefing anymore. Oh, the king is shocked. The king is horrified. Well, he's clearly not, is he? Because he's just about to let these two into Buckingham Palace. And as much as they may have made good on the promise not to share any pictures from Highgrove, I still believe that the king is taking a massive risk, because just because they haven't shared those pictures in this batch, it doesn't mean that it won't come in the future. And actually, I think the Althorpe pictures were far more insensitive to share than anything that were taken at Highgrove anyway. So for me, King Charles needs to know what Harry and Meghan are about. I think he probably does, and he's accepted it. He understands that he can't change them. He also understands that he needs them to make their own money, because he can't afford to open his wallet. You know, he can't afford to bankroll their lifestyle. So I think he's sort of on board with it. As for Prince William, of course he is disgusted, because this is one of his, how do you put it, Brittany, real sensitive spots. Like, yes, he does ignore Harry day to day. He doesn't want to talk about Harry. He doesn't want to talk about Meghan. He just wants to get on with things. But we know, Brittany, that at the 20th anniversary of Princess Diana's death, and it really is worth mentioning this, he made those documentaries with Harry, which must have been a nightmare for him because their relationship at that point was pretty strained anyway, even though none of that had actually come out in public at that time. But he made 2 documentaries with Harry, one for the BBC, one for ITV. It was on the strict understanding that these were to be the final word on their mother's death. 20 years on, 2 brothers who had come through the trauma were able to talk about it, were able to share their feelings and close the chapter. And so, of course, 10 years on, the fact that Harry is now back here commercializing his mother's death is going to upset William. But Brittany, I don't think it surprises him. I think he knew this was coming.
The legacy of Princess Diana has always occupied a unique place in British public life. Decades after her passing, her memory continues to inspire millions through her humanitarian work, compassion, and connection with ordinary people. That enduring influence also means any public discussion involving her name is guaranteed to attract enormous attention. For the royal family, however, Diana represents far more than a historical figure. She is a mother, a cherished family member, and someone whose memory carries deep personal meaning. That distinction often shapes how different members of the family react whenever her legacy becomes part of public debate. As the latest controversy unfolds, questions are once again being asked about where the line should be drawn between remembering a loved one and using a famous legacy in the public arena.
This was obviously the only step Harry and Meghan could make, to be quite honest. So when it comes to Harry and Meghan, the only thing that has ever made them money is the royal family. That is it. They have not been able to achieve success individually on their own with their own endeavors without something related to the royal family. And so Harry mined his own life, was spared. They mined their relationship with Harry and Meghan. And now they're most likely going to mine the death of Diana for their own personal gain. I mean, there's nothing more ghoulish than this, really, to be honest. I think we all can understand that Diana should just rest. And I just found it so incredibly disrespectful and ugly of Meghan, whose mother-in-law died, most likely seeing camera flashes as the last images of her life, being photographed by her grandchildren, being photographed by her daughter-in-law going to her grave. Like the whole camera aspect of this, yes, there were no flashes, but the whole camera aspect of that and how Diana, of course, so much of her life was defined by cameras. I think the last thing she would want are cameras at her grave. I think William completely and utterly respects that. Everything William and his family have done at Althorpe has been completely and utterly private. I don't even think we're aware of a trip they've made there. And I think that's perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong also as well with Harry and Meghan visiting, but commercializing it, I mean, that should just be a glaring warning sign to Charles that Harry and Meghan have no boundaries. They're willing to commercialize anything to make money because Meghan has very, very expensive tastes. And unfortunately, she married quite a dim man who can't actually make money at the end of the day. Who would have thunk it? But she thought he could make money. He can't. And so they're just going to mine Harry's family until the end of time where Meghan finally finds a richer man to marry. And that's just so incredibly squeamish and ugly and disgusting. But that is Harry and Meghan. They literally have no scruples here. They have no morals in this situation.
No, they don't. And I mean, Brittany, the irony for me, just to pick up on your point, is I think they could have made money, but to do so, they would have had to not be focused on vengeance. And the problem is, their launch in Hollywood was so focused on vengeance, so focused on bringing down the British royal family. There was absolutely no thought out strategic plan about, well, what happens if it doesn't work? What happens if the royal family continues and gets stronger? Then where are we going to be left? So, I mean, I think probably if they had just shut up, right? Shut up, sort of Duke of Windsor, Wallace Simpson style, released a very banal book about the British royal family, hadn't done the Oprah lies, hadn't done the Netflix attacks, hadn't written Spare, probably there would have been people who were prepared to just write them checks to do nothing. But because they are now so toxic, they're not going to make money. And you have more evidence of that, Brittany. the collapse of was never, as Lady Colin Campbell calls it, revealing, Brittany, in this new report that the follower count of As Ever is declining again. And you say this is not a surprise. Posted on X, Meghan herself seems to have forgotten about her Instagram during the summer holiday, and she's running an ad for something she does not have in stock. I mean, this is like business 101 failure, okay? You write, if this is going to be their main source of income, she needs to figure out how to make it work. And then, Brittany, you get the new Instagram picture over the weekend, which Harry, Meghan's spare pointed out, sure, Meg, when did you take this photo? Wearing a sweater in the middle of summer. And again, it's like, what's that about? What's she trying to tell us here? So it's fascinating to me, Brittany, that the summer photo dump, which is designed to then bring people to her Instagram, get people interested in As Ever again, according to your statistics, Brittany, isn't actually working because you say people are actually unsubscribing rather than subscribing. It seems to be having the opposite effect, Brittany.
It is. As Ever has been interesting to watch because I think it's gotten as high as 886,000. And then before her rebrand and relaunch, it dipped down to 879 or 78,000, almost to 877, then jumped back up to 886. Now it's back down again. And it has stayed within this like couple thousand range. It's not really growing. And the thing is, Harry and Meghan have seemingly designed this company, maybe potentially, or see it as their only cash cow because it is their only cash cow anymore because Netflix is gone, Spotify is gone, the publishing deal is probably gone. Maybe they're working on something. But if this company is going to be what brings in the moolah, they need to be living and breathing it every single day. That's what I do with my business. I'm sure that's what you do with your business as well. To grow a new business, you have to be like so incredibly focused on it. It doesn't seem like Meghan is at all. She has the same products. The only thing she releases is like new variations of the same product. Like there's no innovation to this brand. It comes across as completely and utterly stagnant. We know she has an insane amount of overstock in her inventory. It's not moving. It's not selling. You don't hear anybody talking about this brand. Like she tried to claim on MasterChef that it was great artisanal products. Like I don't think so, Meghan Markle. I've tasted most of your stuff. It's bad. So at this point, if they want to make a go of this, Meghan actually needs to try here. And she still, I think, is just thinking that, oh, with the Duchess title, it'll sell. But I see a lot of Instagram ads, and I don't think it's helping anything. She needs to sell off all this inventory and rethink her entire company because this is just not working.
Brittany, you also made a point in terms of the Althorpe imagery that there is something quite deeply twisted about it when you think about photography and the final moments of Princess Diana's life, which is something that for a long time Prince Harry really invoked as something that did drive his, for example, anti-paparazzi campaign, I guess you would say. So I just want to share what you wrote, and then I'll get you to explain it a little bit more, Brittany. But you posted on X, as ever, Meghan Markle takes what should be a solemn private family moment and exploits it for clicks and money. It's so incredibly disgusting, and I can't help but imagine Prince William would be incensed. There's nothing wrong with them visiting Diana's grave, but why did she have to disrespect Harry and her children by posting about it? This is a woman who's claimed for years that all she wants for her family is privacy, and then she commoditizes her children and the memory of her deceased mother-in-law for the world to see. This, perhaps more than anything else, exposes what a hypocrite and liar Meghan is. It also reveals the disdain she has for her mother-in-law, who is everything she isn't. Probably the last thing in the world Diana saw was the flashes of the camera, and now here is her daughter-in-law trampling on her memory with a camera in tow for her own greed. William has and would never do anything this crass, but that's who Harry married. He married a woman who cares nothing for him, his pain, or the memory of a woman who would probably have despised her. Meghan's always been about the clicks, and this revolting picture is absolute proof of that. And Brittany, I thought that was just such a fascinating post. Thank you for writing it, because it got me thinking, Harry must never feel safe when Meghan is around, because if he knew that she was snapping away, and they were personal moments that the world was never going to see, maybe he'd be okay with that. But given the so-called deep trauma that he has spoken about all the time in regards to camera flashes, there is a great irony now that the real woman who he needs to be the real thing he needs to be protected from is his own woman, who's constantly flashing.
True, Dan. I think Meghan is constantly taking pictures, and Harry, in some instances, might think these are just innocent pictures my wife wants to take. However, I think Harry might find at some point in divorce proceedings that Meghan Markle was building a case against him for either custody of the kids, more money, what have you, the entire time. Meghan is constantly following around taking pictures. And again, I photograph royals for a living as well. I take a lot of pictures. I enjoy that. But at the same time, like there's a time and a place for things. And I think Meghan is doing everything with clicks in mind. What will get the clicks? What will generate the interest? That's why the game with the kids, and Meghan knows as well, the game with the kids that she plays fuels negative talk about her children online, and yet she continues to do it. She continues to exploit her kids and throw them up to the wolves in order to kind of move and grow her Instagram in some sort of way. And it's just pretty disgusting. And I think, again, proves who Meghan Markle really is. She's just shallow, vain, and vapid. It's all about the Instagram clicks, all about the follows for her. She cares nothing really for her husband, his trauma, the death of his mother, anything like that, or even her own children. They are all there for her personal exploitation for money and cash and following and influence and these sorts of things. And Harry, if he was choosing, like Meghan is probably about the worst person you can possibly choose to be a royal spouse because they have no respect for the institution. They have no respect for what came before them. It is only ever all about their personal gain. And I think sometimes that clicks for Harry, but he also has to deny that because to realize that his wife is just using and exploiting him, I think probably disturbs him to a certain extent. But that's who he decided to marry, despite everybody in his life telling him she was a bad idea. He did it anyways, and now he's living with the consequences, and so are his children.
Indeed. And his sort of life becomes smaller and smaller and sadder in a way. I mean, over the weekend, Brittany, he joined a peer support town hall for Santa Barbara County first responders. And I'm sure these are absolutely wonderful people, Brittany, but there was just very little interest in this, very little discussion about it. You know, he speaks to the local TV crew and it's to support 1805, a non-profit organization that is all about the mental health of first responders. And apparently he was all smiles at the event without Meghan. But as Queer Lips of Truth put it, Prince Harry has mental illness on naked display. He is the one who needs serious help. And you posted, Brittany, about this. An unemployed man with seemingly unresolved mental health issues mentors first responders on mental wellness issues. You can't make it up. And unfortunately, again, Brittany, it was just sort of like the elephant in the room. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like,
Yeah.
okay, he's got to fill his time, but seriously, if you're in charge of Santa Barbara first responders, do you really want Prince Harry messing your guys up? I mean, fine if they're just meeting him, but he actually seemed to be almost lecturing them about something.
I mean, it's so insane that he gets invited to these things or that any charity really gives him the time of day anymore because he just comes across as, Dan, I would argue mentally unstable. He is not in a good place mentally, hasn't been for years by his own admission. I don't think any of the psychotherapy or whatever he's doing has actually helped him at all. And he has damaged relations with all his family, basically. And so you're inviting this guy in to help other people who have actually experienced real trauma responding to a car accident or a plane accident or a murder or something like that. That's real trauma. And Harry hasn't really experienced anything remotely like that. And he's asked to be there to, I guess, help them and give them advice when he hasn't really experienced anything. I mean, again, this is a guy who went to war, and the only time he realized the cost of it was on the plane home when there were injured veterans on the plane with him. So Harry is just, I think, completely devoid of anything to say on this issue. And I think his personal instability, I think, reflects badly on any charity that associates with him because you're bringing on that baggage and that toxicity, especially as well with the Harry and Meghan drama, that I don't think helps anybody. Harry has no training here. He has no understanding here. he is basically just regurgitating, I think, the negative influences he's had in some of his psychotherapy sessions, which obviously haven't helped him. So I don't know how he's going to help others. And it's just so incredibly obvious he's so out of his depth. But I guess people humor him because of his royal title, and that's about it, but the guy needs a real job, and he needs to actually do something with his life, but he has no clue what to do, so he's just people are giving him points to talk, and that's just what he's taking, and it's just kind of pathetic.
Yeah, I used to love that song, Brittany. I don't know if you remember it. Get a haircut and get a real job. Or in Harry's case, I'd say get a hair transplant and get a real job. Then maybe your life will turn around. Garden work, seriously. Get a job at Subway Montecito or something. You'd be more useful than speaking to the first responders of Santa Barbara. But brilliant stuff today, Brittany. Thank you so much. Do make sure you subscribe to the
Thanks,
Royal
Dan.
News Network on YouTube and